So this is a walkthrough from my hypertext literary analysis of John Berryman's Dream Song 29. I do have a video of him actually speaking the poem, but it will not play or record the sound since my screencast doesn't actually pick up the words. And so you go to the home screen, and as you click throughout the poem, key words or phrases start to come out of the poem. So I'll read the poem for you. There sat down once a thing on Henry's heart, so heavy, if he had 100 years and more, and weeping, sleepless, and all them time, Henry could not make good. Starts again always in Henry's ears, this little cough somewhere, an odor, a chime. And there's another thing he has in mind, like a grave, Sienese face, 1,000 years, would fail to blur the still profile reproach of. Ghastly, with open eyes he attends blind, all the bells say, too late. This is not for tears, thinking. But never did Henry, as he thought he did, end anyone, and hacks her body up, and hide the pieces, where they may be found. He knows. He went over everyone, and nobody's missing. Often he wrecks in the dawn them up. Nobody is ever missing. So then as you click on each of these, they come up with why it's important to the text, or if there was any meaning behind it. So if we look at the word, so the O's accent puts stress on how it is to be read. It adds to the weight of the whole emotion of sadness in this poem. And whatever was weighing on Henry's heart was so bad that even with time and a good weep, he would not be able to shake the feeling. As this poem goes on to state, Henry could not make good. Okay. The chime. Sound of a chime along with a prior smell or a cough or just little annoyances that make Henry acknowledge the lingering sadness. Seeing these faces. The idea behind the like a grave Sienese face is a simile Berryman uses to show what is on Henry's mind. The word grave makes us think of solemn faces as well as death, while the Sienese face is a reference to the paintings, which were often depicted with a surreal or unearthly quality, like a dream. With open eyes, he attends blind. The idea behind this line is not only to play off the faces written prior in the second stanza, but also as a reference to the fact that Henry cannot see what is that bothers him, yet he lives with this agonizing sadness. All the bells say, too late. This is an echo to the chimes in which the return of Henry's sadness, and when Berryman's right too late refers to the fact that everything in reference to death is now unavailable, whether it is saying goodbye or anything of that nature. thinking. Berryman states, "Death is not a time for tears, but is for thinking." The word is placed at the end of the stanza all alone, most likely to allow the reader to have time to reflect on why Henry is thinking what Henry is thinking about. And anyone. This is a statement that Henry may have killed someone, but gives a gruesome detail of what he didn't do, at least as far as he can remember. He knows. He went over everybody. Nobody's missing. This line just shows that after waking up from his dream that made him feel he has done wrong, Henry counts all the people he knows in hopes that no one has gone missing, proving that he is no killer. And then nobody is ever missing. These last 4 words of the poem reiterate that this isn't the first time Henry has felt this way. It may not be his last. He has had to make sure no one is missing more than once. Honestly, I connect this poem with kind of a American Psycho vibe, both in the movie and the novel. Patrick Bateman is supposed to be a serial killer, though is only drifting farther from reality, almost as if he has dreamt his murders. No one believes him when he confesses his misdeeds. This is similar to the Dream Songs 29, in that it is left with an ambiguity, but all signs point to the fact that he's just imagining. Both Henry and Bateman are just both imagining it. In overall summary, Dream Song 29 is a poem composed of a somber state of mind. Berryman, who writes from the persona of Henry, a crestfallen man, reflects on the state of his emotions. Through the course of the poem, Henry comes to the conclusion that his sadness and reproach from the Sienese faces may be due to the feeling of guilt from a crime. He then decides that this could not be, since everyone he knows is still there when he wakes. Nobody is ever missing, not even himself. The poem leans on the use of literary devices such as hyperboles, repetition, similes, and metaphors. Berryman makes use of the white space, point of view, mood, emotion, and tone. And overall, John Berryman, he's a scholar and a professor as well as a poet. He's best known for the Dream Songs. He got published in '69, an intensely personal sequence of 385 poems, which brought him the Pulitzer Prize and a National Book Award. He was born John Smith in McAlester, Oklahoma. In 1914, Berryman suffered a great loss at 12 when his father shot himself out of his own window. This event haunted him throughout his life and reoccurred as a subject in his poetry. The poet's lifelong struggles with alcoholism and depression ended in 1972 when he jumped off the Minneapolis Bridge in the dead of winter.